Hello everyone, in this video titled Catching Round 2 Deadlines, typically the Round 2 deadlines of US business schools for a September intake. That's what we're going to be looking at right now. What we're going to do in this video is we're going to be looking at two things, right? One, we're going to be comparing and contrasting the advantages, disadvantages of applying in round 1 versus round 2. Is round 2, applying with round 2 such a big disadvantage? We'll just take a quick look at it. We'll spend about a couple of minutes with that. And we'll also look at when are the round 2 deadlines for the top business schools of the US falling for this year. And then we'll spend a big chunk of the time of this video on working out a study plan during the timeline between now, I'm assuming it to be the 15th of August, to the time the round 2 deadlines for top business schools work out. We'll also look at the timelines and then we'll see what you need to do when and what is a milestone that you should have reached, both in terms of coverage of portions, number of questions, the place where you should be, and how you can pace yourself so that you comfortably catch round 2 deadlines, right? So these are the aspects of what we are going to be looking at. As I had mentioned, let's quickly take a look at round 1 versus round 2. Does it really matter? Is round 1 having such a big advantage? Let's just spend a few minutes on it. I've done a specific video on why you should be trying to catch round 1 deadlines. You can look at that video. The URL for that video is available here. You can try that video, understand the advantages of applying with round 1. Now, here is what I want to tell you. If you have already started preparing for the GMAT, let's say you started a GMAT preparation in April of this year, that's about 3.5 months of preparation already into the bag. And then now you are in the middle of your mocks, you've taken 2-3 mocks, you're already scoring the 720, 730 in the official mock examinations, and then you have another 3 mocks to go, and you know you can push it to about 750 plus, right? That's a very comfortable number to apply to most business schools. You don't need a 750 plus to apply to business schools. A 720 plus itself will be a good score to get you scholarships into some of the good business schools in the United States. So let's say you're right now in the 690 to 720, you know you can push it to a 750 plus if you give another 2-3 weeks time, then I think you should catch round 1. Because we're right now in the middle of August, you'll be comfortably in the next 2 to 3 weeks. By the end of August, take the GMAT and keep up this momentum of preparation and score a 750 plus or minus 10. That's a good score to start targeting these schools. You may not be able to catch some of these schools which have their application deadlines by the first week of September, but definitely those that have application deadlines from 15th of September onward, you'll be able to catch, right? Let's say you take the GMAT even on the 31st of August, 15 days is a decent amount of time to do justice to your application essays, get the LORs in place. Right now, start talking to your bosses and like your team leads, whoever is going to give you this recommendation, and work on your resume whenever you have time. Just throw in those points probably in an audio recorder. Say it like, this is a point I would probably want to talk about leadership. This is the point I want to be talking about my career goals, right? So have those points recorded somewhere and keep it. When you start writing the essay, that's going to be useful. Don't spend too much time on the essay component right now. Focus on your GMAT. Unless your GMAT turns out good, these essay points are of no value at all, right? So invest as much time as you can in the GMAT between now and August 31st. If you are done at least 3 months of preparation for the GMAT, you're in the middle of the mocks and you want to catch round 1. If you're not there, you're just about starting your GMAT preparation, or you just started your GMAT preparation about 15-20 days back, right? The round 1 deadlines fall latest by the end of September for most good business schools. That essentially leaves us very little time to do justice both to the GMAT preparation and the application component. My thing is, don't even bother applying for round 1 if you've just about started your GMAT preparation or just started thinking about the GMAT. Plan for round 2. Do you have adequate time if you start right now to do justice to the round 2 application window? You certainly have. Quickly walk you through the round 2 deadlines. Look at it. Round 2 deadlines for the marquee names like Harvard, Stanford, Wharton, and Yale is in the first week of January, and for schools such as Sloan, it's in the 3rd week. MIT is in the 3rd week of January. So it falls somewhere between the 1st week and the 3rd week for the top-notch business schools. And there are schools in the US, so good schools for which the round 2 deadlines will be as late as the 1st week of February. Let's focus on it being January 4th, which is the earliest of the deadlines that we have right now. That gives us half a month of August, September, October, November, December. 4.5 months is a lot of time. We're talking about give or take 135 to 140 days to do justice to your GMAT preparation. Retake the GMAT should a need arise. Do justice to your applications and submit all of this in time and catch the application deadlines for round 2 of top US business schools for the September intake, right? So this is basically adequate time. You can start the GMAT preparation at the end of watching this video and you will comfortably catch round 2. That's a guarantee. No problem at all there. As I mentioned when we started, is there such a big disadvantage with applying in round 2? Not at all. See, round 1 gives some advantages. So I discussed. One, you signal things that you're ready for the application calendar for the year as soon as it begins, and then you have your test scores, your resume, your application essays. You're telling that you are a well-planned guy. And you're also signaling to the school that that school is so important in your scheme of things that you want to catch that school in round 1. These are the big signals that you're sending. The small advantage that you get is if you are applying from a background which is a typical background, which is where quite a lot of applicants come from. To give an example, in India, good lot of people work for the information technology sector. If you're an Indian IT male working for information technology in the technology space, then that's a crowded space in terms of the number of students who apply to business schools, which essentially means that you might want to catch schools in the earlier round of application so that when the school opens their entire roster for the year, there's no one from that background at all, and they find your application good, you have a good GMAT score, they take you in. When you apply with exactly same credentials in round 2, they would have taken someone of your profile, or they might have taken a few people similar to your profile in round 1 that they might be thinking, hey, why don't we bring in diversity to the class profile, and may not probably take you in round 2. So if you come from a crowded space, then it makes sense to catching round 1 than round 2. Having said that, look at it this way. If in round 1, you haven't done a decent job of your essays and your GMAT score is like meddling in the 690s right now, versus catching round 2, where you have adequate time to do justice to your GMAT, that you push the 690 to a 750, you also do adequate justice to your application essays, you do all the work that is required, you attend the webinars of schools, you interact with the admissions team, you speak to the student ambassadors, you speak to some of the alumni, you have a good idea about what the school wants, you actually live and breathe as if you are studying right now in the school with at least 3-4 schools, you imbibe that culture in you, that when you speak to the admissions team, when you speak to the interview team, especially with the admissions committee, if you are able to convey to them that you would fit into the school, that's going to make a big difference. You would require 2 to 3 months to do justice to all of these things. Push your GMAT from 690 to 750, do a good job of understanding the school and vibing with the school. That investment probably will more than compensate for rushing into a R1 deadline with a not so great GMAT score and not so adequately prepared mentally and otherwise to do justice to your interviews and interaction with the team. So round 2 might actually turn out to be good. Here's a confession. I actually do a lot of videos for people applying in round 1, basically because many of our students have got scholarships and got admissions in round 2. I want some of them at least to advance the things so that they get things out of their way by round 1. We also have some results by round 1 instead of waiting for many of them coming up with results in round 2. Many of our students have applied in round 2, have got admissions, have got scholarships. Round 2 is probably the last round to apply to get scholarships, and they've all succeeded in getting some form of scholarship or the other. They got as much as 100% tuition fee waiver plus stipend thrown in for their MBA from some schools to getting 30-40% tuition fee waiver because their scores would have been that way, or they are short for a school which is like highly ranked. So round 2 is a good round to catch if you can shore up your application component in all aspects significantly compared to rushing into catching round 1, right? So round 2 is a good round to apply. With this, let's look at the timeline that you can do. I'm assuming that you have done nothing for the GMAT other than watching this video, right? Start with this month of August. Take a diagnostic test, right? This is the first and foremost thing. The best place to pick a diagnostic test is go to mba.com, the official site of GMAT. They got 2 tests available. Pick one test. Do only one test right now. Do not exhaust the test at all. There aren't too many official tests that are available. There are a total of 6 official tests. We are using up one right now. My only confidence which I am doing is 4 months down the line, when you're ready to take the mocks, you can reset this test and you probably would have forgotten most of what you have written here. So you will not recall these questions. So which is why I'm saying take one test right now. This is not such a big loss. You can reset the test and take it again. Even if some of these questions repeat at that point in time, you won't remember. This test, do it as a full test, right? Probably the only exception that you can take is you need not write the essay component, the analytical writing assessment. Do the quant, do the verbal, and do the IR section. And do it all in one sitting. Don't do the quant for 62 minutes, go, come back tomorrow and then do the verbal section. Not that way. Do the verbal section, do the quant section, do the IR section. Check out what your score is. 2 things it tells you. It helps you identify your strong points, weak points, relatively where you need to work, how did you pace the test and everything. And it gets you into this discipline and gets it into our head saying that, hey, I need to have the stamina to sit through an examination, which is a 3-hour plus examination, right? This examination, the quant section is for 62 minutes, an hour and 2 minutes. The verbal section is for 65 minutes, an hour and 5 minutes. So that's 2 hours and 7 minutes. And then you have 1 hour of AWA plus IR, half an hour component. So, we are talking about a 3 hour, 7 minute examination. I am asking you to do justice to it for essentially 2 hours and 37 minutes. I am shaving off the last half an hour, which is the AWA component. So, you can sit for 2 hours, 40 minutes and do justice and build that stamina. That also tells you what is in store for you in terms of how you need to prepare. This diagnostic test, find the score. Your score could be a 400, your score could be a 650, really does not matter. Right? If it's a 650, you know you're quite a long way into the preparation in terms of what is required. You can polish it, you can do justice to it, you can actually shoot for the moon, you can shoot for a 760, 770 kind of a score. If you started with a 400, you have 4.5 months in hand. We're starting in August. The deadlines, as you saw, were falling only in the first week of January. That gives us a complete set of 4.5 months, 135, 140 days in hand. We can do justice to the preparation. 400 to 700 in 4.5 months is definitely possible. Once you've done this diagnostic test, do not waste any more time. So you take the diagnostic test by August 15th. By August 22nd, give yourself a week to decide on how you are going to be preparing. Right? Here's a word of advice. It would appear as if I have a vested interest because I come from a company which is a test preparation company. I'm not saying join our course or their course or this course. I would recommend taking up one form or other of preparation assistance. Right? There are like umpteen videos on YouTube which are free. There are like lots of these forums which have questions thrown around left, right, center. But going with a structured test preparation, it could be offline, it could be private tutoring, it could be a mentored course, it could be a two-way live online course. It doesn't matter what form you choose, or if there is a possibility for you to have a tutor come home or you going to a physical classroom and studying, sign up for a program. Self-study lacks a couple of things. Self-study lacks structure many a times. Self-study lacks discipline because there is a day when you will come back and say like, hey, kal karunga, I'll do it tomorrow, I won't do today is what we are likely to say if we had a long day at work. But if you have a live online class structured at 9 p.m. in the night, even after a long day's work, you will come in and sign into that. You might be half asleep, but you'll still watch the class. Next day, you try to watch the video again and recall what is happening. Right? It brings in discipline. If it's a weekend class that you're attending, if you have a physical classroom, Saturday, Sunday, you'll set aside that time for the GMAT. So it brings in a lot of discipline, brings in structure. More importantly, these are two things which are very, very invaluable. Right? It helps you get your doubts clarified and come out of your preparation blues because you have a mentor, you have a tutor who is around through this entire preparation window to help you come out of it. Right? You can get your doubts clarified in a snap. You can get that preparation blues. It strikes in once in a while. You'll take a lot of, you'll have done enough chapters and you'll find that your accuracy rate like floating around like 55%. You'll be kicking yourself. What is happening? Why am I not going beyond that? You probably are making some mistakes. You just probably are around the bend. A little more practice and a little more hand holding, a little more someone giving you that energy boost could take you around the knee bend and your accuracy will go up, right? You need someone who has seen so many students earlier to know that you're just around the corner and you need to be at it and not lose hope at that point, right? So beating the preparation blues, you need someone to help you out. And the second thing which is invaluable, notwithstanding whatever I've told earlier, is that if you study with a peer, right, it could be an online pre-recorded course. There is a discussion board. There is a leaderboard. There are people who have scored better than you. There are people who are like lagging behind you. There's a physical classroom. You have students sitting next to you from different backgrounds who are answering, who are doing better than you. Those pressure, competitive pressures, peer pressure and peer help is something which is invaluable. Those are things which you may not necessarily get by going to Reddit forum or through any of these Quora forums. They're good places to get advice on overall thing. If you want to find out which course is good, check out on Quora. They'll have reviews. Read all the reviews. Take demo classes with these companies. Choose who you want to prepare with, right? But take up a preparation aid. Be a manager right from today because a preparation course essentially optimizes the energy that you need to put into the search component. You just need to focus on the preparation, the studying, practice, testing. These are the things you need to focus on. What you need to focus on in terms of where do I find this material? Where do I find more questions for rates? Where do I find more questions for geometry? Someone else's job. Your tutor will take care of that, right? Your course is definitely a worthy investment. Could cost anything upward of like 4,000 Indian rupees, all the way up to probably 70,000-80,000 rupees, depending upon what you choose and how you choose to prepare. Even if you went for the most expensive thing, look at it, a post-MBA job in the US is going to pay you at least 110,000 US dollars. That's a median salary for a lot of good business schools. Give or take, we are talking about 9,000 US dollars as a gross pay per month. $80,000 is $1,000, which is nothing. It is like probably 1/9 of your monthly salary that you're investing into this preparation to shore up your GMAT score and make it more effective. Most of you will be working or would probably be in the final year of college if you're applying for the 2+2 programs. Given all of these things, you don't have too much time to do the search. So join a course certainly makes a difference. Get started with the concepts, get started with the basics, ask all the right questions, get them answered. Do not sweep anything under the carpet. If you have a doubt, get it clarified. Get the tutor to explain to you in depth. Go pick materials. If, for example, you do not know how to solve quadratic equation factorization, go to the 10th standard textbook of CBSE, right? 10th standard textbook will have like tens of questions that you can factorize from quadratic equations. Pick that, solve it. There's nothing wrong with going to a 10th standard book and referring to quadratic equation. If you're stuck with similar triangles, you do not know how to work with similar triangles, go pick the 10th standard textbook for CBSE. Chapter number 7 would be similar triangles. Solve questions on similar triangles. You will get conversant with that. Same goes for verbal, right? If you're stuck with some particular area, you do not know how basically adjectives work. Can adjectives be placed this way or that way, or how neither nor or like correlatives work? Go pick exercises on correlatives, right? Start working on them. Find out all the correlatives that are important and tested in the GMAT. Solve 15 questions on it. Get conversant with it. You have put a check mark on something only when you're confident about it, right? So get started with concepts, simultaneously do practice. It's not concepts alone and then practice. You can't study everything about what subject-verb agreement or noun-verb agreement is and then think of doing practice 3 months down the line. Studied noun-verb agreement, try and do at least 30-40 questions for noun-verb agreement, then and there, consolidate it before you can move forward, right? So that's the way you go about preparing. Focus on the why, what, when, where, probably. Where is not so relevant, as much as the how. Many times the Indian school system helps us focus a lot on the how. We know how to factorize a quadratic equation, we know how to take LCM, but we probably do not know what the LCM stands for, when to take LCM. GMAT tries to check out whether you know that a quadratic equation when plotted on a graph is a parabola and the roots of the quadratic equation are nothing but the place where the parabola cuts the x-axis. They expect you to know that, and that's why you need to know what a quadratic equation is, what will it appear when you plot it on an xy plane, and also equally how to factorize a quadratic equation. Both are equally important. So spend as much time in the month of August, starting from the 20th, 22nd. You sign up with something and then start rolling. You don't waste any more time. Big chunk of September is also going to be in this preparation window where you consolidate these ideas. October is probably the month you should be focusing on practice. You'd still have some concepts left, but the weightage would be more of concepts here, less of practice in the month of September. It's going to be more of practice and less of concepts because you've covered a lot of concepts. The earlier concepts covered, you'd practice for it. The concepts you're covering right now, you'll be practicing for it. And by the mid of October, start clocking in official guide practice also. There are 3 versions of official guide. One is the main book, which has got about 1000 questions. Then there is an official guide, verbal review, quant review. Together they have about 750 questions. And there is an official guide advanced book, which has got about 300. The first 2 variants get started at this point itself. You can use the advanced version for the next month when you're looking at what we are going to be doing in the month of November. Give or take at this point in time, you need to be investing an average of 3 hours at least with the GMAT. When I say an average of 3 hours, if you're working, say Monday to Friday, weekdays, you might be able to give only 2 hours. That's 10. You need to clock 5 hours on Saturday and Sunday to cover up and make it up to a 21 hour for the week. If you do that kind of justice to it, you'll be able to do justice to your GMAT preparation. The official guide alone between these 3 variants has 2000 questions to solve. We're trying to solve that from the middle of October to the middle of November. So in a month, if you're going to be solving 2000 questions, that translates to 66 questions per day. So that's the rate at which you should be solving. But it is not just blindly solving. The easier questions in that, you might be able to clock it. You'll know the answer is right. You know why it is right. How is it come? You don't have to spend time at all analyzing it. You can quickly move on. As you scale in, right? For example, let's say there are 252 questions in the problem solving section of the official guide. Of which the first 180 questions are really easy questions. If you have done justice to your August, September and up to mid-October preparation, when you start the official guide, first 180 questions of the official guide, barring 10 questions in those 180, you won't have to spend time at all in it. You'll actually be able to read the question, say what the answer is and move on in many instances. I'm not joking, I'm not exaggerating. Those are easy questions. The place where it starts getting a little uphill is once you cross that 180 questions. The last 25% of the questions in any of these parts, be it sentence correction, critical reasoning, reading comprehension, tends to get a little tougher. Invest some more time in it. So a big chunk of it, though we are talking about 1700 questions between the verbal review, quant review and this, of that I would say 75% of the questions among these 3 books that are available, you will be able to solve in under a minute or a little more than a minute. And you may not even have to do much of an analysis there because you know you got the answer for the right reason. The last 25% is where you're going to be investing time. That's give or take 500 questions. You'll invest time analyzing and learning why things are done, how it is done, how is the GMAT basically processing this information, and therefore you'll imbibe things from it. So 1300 plus questions or 1250 plus questions, you'll sail through. 500 questions is where the value comes. Therefore, I would say you would be able to do justice to 60, 65 or even probably 80 questions a day. You'll be able to do justice to the OG in a month in addition to other practice. So clock the 10. You necessarily, I can't overemphasize the impact, the importance of doing OG. OG gives you good flavor of how the actual GMAT is, and therefore it's going to come a long way in helping you score well. Next month of your preparation, do the mock test. Right? Early November, you should start taking mocks. Sign up for an examination by the last week of November. That gives you so much more momentum to your preparation. Should possibly by mid-September, once you started making some progress, sign up. You've got about the whole of October, whole of November and part of September, 2.5 months in advance, book a date, right? Keep it with you. That helps you work backward. And as the days near, the pressure is there, you're going to be cutting out all unnecessary things in your life. Any social engagement, any time with social media, any time generally browsing, you'd kill all of that and you'd work towards a GMAT. Right? November, start your mock examinations. The best place to pick mock examinations are the MBA.com mocks. There are 2 free mocks and there are 4 paid mocks. They're worth taking it. They're absolutely gold, and that's what is going to help you clock a good score. Take a mock once every 3 days, starting from the first week of November. Take the mock today, analyze the mock for 2 days. The next day when you analyze the mock, identify low-hanging fruits which you should work on, which you can improve on, and invest time in that and get that corrected. Look at every mock as a beautiful feedback mechanism. Take the mock, you understood what went right, what went wrong, where you invested time, what kind of a question you should not be answering. The analysis itself is like, it's got multiple components to it. Some are conceptual, some are like methodical in the sense like, how did I process this question? How much time did I spend in this? Should I have done this? Is this a question that I'm usually good at? This is a question that I typically fall into the trap for. Identify, you need to have that fix. What are the 31 questions in the quant section, for example? You can get 2 to 3 questions incorrect of those that matter. 28 questions matter. 3 are usually questions which are not graded. Of the 28, even after getting 3 questions wrong, you'll end up with a Q50. So if you know that there's some area which is usually a nagging area that you don't get right, that takes a lot of time, and you see that that question is the 23rd question, just confidently say, I'll probably sacrifice this question, I'll mark something and move on. I know I'll get the balance right because I've done enough practice, and you probably will have more peace of mind, and you might actually get a Q51 because that's the only question which you may not have cracked it. And if luck be with you, that random answer that you marked might actually turn out to be right. So these are the things that I want you to know. It's not just a concept. Plugging in the concept that you're weak in is also going to come from the feedback. It's also to know where can I tread comfortably, which are the places which I should probably not be doing, I should probably be skipping. And you also need to get an idea about if I lose these 2 questions, what am I scoring? Did the next questions turn out to be difficult, easy? Did I lose out because of sacrificing these questions? Get that kind of an understanding at the end of each mock. By the time you process 6 mocks, you should be enough to say, I can walk into the examination hall. I know what to do. I know what not to do. It should be that smooth sailing for you. Take the mock, take the examination by November, and you should, if you have done all of these right, should get the score of your choice. Something like a 720 plus will be in your bag. If you scored a 720 and you're still unhappy with a 720, and there's nothing wrong with being unhappy with a 720, right? 760 and above, if you're unhappy, then I do not know what to say. But if you have a 720 and you think you can get a 760 and you're unhappy about it, be unhappy about it. Sign up for another test, right? If a 720 is not the score that you would be very proud of, cancel the score at the examination center and walk out. You can always reinstate it by paying $50 at a later date. Come back and sign up for one more GMAT, probably in the mid-December. Start working on our application. Just take some more mocks. Get yourself into the groove and find out what went wrong in your first attempt of your GMAT. Get the enhanced score report. That's a $35 which is worth the investment. It'll tell you where you spent time, where you got wrong, what percentage of questions were right. Was it the grammar questions and sentence correction that you got right, or was it the communication questions that you got right? ESR is a good tool to understand and analyze how your actual exam that you scored a 720 in went. And then you can tweak those components and correct it and push it to a 760 in the December 15 GMAT if that's a score that you actually want. The second score ends up being a 760, accept the score, and you've been working for application essay side by side. You'll be able to complete all of these things by January first week and catch the round 2 deadlines. It's a smooth sail, it is possible. But any point in time you think we can come in and help you, just ping us. We'll be more than happy to help you in multiple ways. We also started our entire admission consulting business under the brand name MyAdmit. We help students with application essay rating. This year, we want to do justice First of the years we are doing it, we want to handpick about 8 to 10 students, work with them, get them into good schools, help them get into good schools, and use that to basically take up the numbers next year. So if you're looking at application rating, essay rating services, you can ping us the moment you have done your GMAT and are ready to apply, right? Just 4.5 months is good enough, sufficient time to do justice to your GMAT preparation. You will see yourself, if you put in effort and focus for the next 4.5 months, in a good business school starting September with some kind of a scholarship. Best wishes. Follow us on any of these social media, whichever one you're comfortable with. On YouTube, our handle is Wizako. In most other places, be it with Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, we are on Pinterest, we are on Wizako GMAT. That's our handle. Right. Best wishes, guys. We also have a Q&A session which we run once every month. So you can participate it on YouTube, where you can throw in your questions in the chat box and answer it. Or you can also participate. We have an audio social media platform, Clubhouse. Every other Saturday at 6 p.m. we have this conversation where you can join us in the Clubhouse and you can ask any questions. You can tell us what is nagging you, what kind of help you want, and we'll be able to give you some solutions that should help you take you forward. Best wishes for your GMAT, and hope to see many of you join in a business school in September 2022.